Good morning, good morning, good morning. I was just sharing this out into the internets with the question of what if the view was all dudes?
So, what do I sound like today?
You sound like you got a little bit of a cold or something. No, I don't know. Yeah, talk more. I should shut up.
Okay. Well, I've got my
Sounds
earpiece
fresh.
in today. I've got my
Yeah,
earpiece in today, so I'm not sure if it sounds tinny
very
or if I'm
clear.
in my car. It's very clear today. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's very clear. It's hard to tell if
Yes.
you're tinny or not because I'm listening also on an earpiece with the little microphone sticking off to the side of it as I get in my car for my 19-mile drive to work on this
Very
beautiful
good.
day, which it is right now. Wow, it's jumped up 10 degrees from when I woke up this morning. It is now 15.
We have 54 degrees, and we are cruising at about 30 feet above sea level, and cloudy out. We're going to get some rain.
Well, I'm having a this
78%
is
today.
this is a beautiful sunny day here, and it's to like I said, started out at 5 degrees this morning. We're going to a high today of 52. So we have a 40 something degree temperature spread today because Midwest.
Yes,
You don't like
in
the
the
weather.
land,
Wait a minute.
yeah, exactly. I mean, in the Midwest, you can go from getting sunburnt to frostbitten in the same day or even the same week.
Oh, absolutely. There's many days, especially in March, in November and March. There's about an 82 degree swing between the record high and the record low. So it could be like Sunday is going to be 72 degrees here, but last night it was zero. It's a
Yeah,
70 degree swing in 4 days. That's not
Well, I want to
global
welcome
warming.
every. Go ahead.
I said if that's not global warming, I don't know what is. Let's warm this globe.
how
Fire up those
dare
Well,
you?
turbines. Run your
how dare
chainsaw.
you?
Mow
How
that
dare you,
lawn.
sir?
How
How
dare
dare you,
you?
sir?
No, it's not
Anyway,
global warming. Our climate is just fluid.
Evolving. It's evolving. We
Yeah,
have an
it's
evolving
climate. We're
climate.
climate fluid. That's what we are. We're
yeah, we're
climate
climate fluid.
fluid. Oh my goodness.
Welcome to the Daily Weather View, where we're going to deconstruct the news that has happened overnight, and also we're attacking the anti-woke mob that's out there. And just want to welcome all my guest hosts here. We have White Whoopi, and we have
That's myself.
Indiana Joy, Jason McCain, and yours
Yes.
and yours truly, Weathered Soul Sunny.
AKA Old Man Winters.
Old Man Winters. That's right. That's right. Well, I'm telling you, man, I surely hope that this climate change thing really catches on because I'm loving it. Really, I mean, I got the best of both worlds here in California. Being over here on the right or left coast, which is the right side of the world, and
The incorrect side.
And you just misgendered climate. It's climate fluid.
oh,
It's not
jeez,
climate change anymore. That was climate change was so 2014. It's we're
2014. Where
we're
you at,
climate
dude?
we're climate fluid now. That's what we're calling it.
Climate fluid. Everybody's triggered now. Everybody's triggered.
Even the triggered people are triggered because they're triggered.
There's a whole study of the triggered. It's called trigonometry.
We are really bad.
Yep.
Rhymes with dad, which
Well,
means
guys,
dad
we, we,
jokes.
we, we do this show every day from 6 to 7 a.m. Actually, during my commute time. And we're brought to you by the guys that do the weather report. And you guys are invited to listen to the weather report every Sunday. We drop it at 7 o'clock, 2 times live on YouTube and We're going to a bonus episode on the Sundays that we're not live, and we drop on Monday morning to all the audio podcasts. All you pod appers out there, you guys are great. Keep downloading. Weather
That's a
report.
free bonus episode too. We're not
That's it.
charging. We're bad capitalists.
Yeah, we are bad capitalists.
Yes.
We're poor bad capitalists.
Yes.
So, Chris, you were very upset about the Fountain.fm the other day. I was aghast at your critique of the app.
Well, yeah, not everything Bitcoin is amazing.
It's pretty good. I mean,
There's
I really did wish that they had a web interface. I mean, to tell you the truth, when you go to the website, I mean, why have a website? I mean, why have a really full-fledged website, that comes up on desktop and stuff like that if it's not usable? So I'll agree with that there.
Yeah. Exactly. And then their directions on how to claim a podcast. You have the web directions, and then you have the app directions. And then the web directions say, step 1, download the app. So it's like, okay, so it's like you just say we have no web option. Like, just say that. Don't be retarded and tell people how to download it on the web. Download on the app. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Who the fuck did this?
I'll have to talk.
I need to reach out to them and be like, hey, you want me to build you a real website?
I'll have to talk to Oscar Mary about that. So it's only 3 guys, man. They're doing their best, and it's surprising what 3 guys are doing to get this app up and going, because they're really doing it. I mean, they are doing a great job in trying to get this app up and running. They update it quite frequently, so they're getting all the bugs in and out of it. Unfortunately, their web presence is less to be desired, but I would encourage anybody who's out there listening to podcasts, get into Podcast 2.0 and get yourself a podcast app that is not going to drop podcasts because we said something wrong, like they do on the Daily Weather View. So, but I was excited.
Exactly.
I was excited to see that we're being distributed everywhere. So it's even going on YouTube. We haven't been axed off of YouTube yet, which is good.
Not yet.
I would love to.
Yeah, not yet.
Well, I would say, you guys are free to say whatever you want and however you want to say it, because I cannot wait to get bumped out of YouTube. To tell you the truth.
So
watch us just never get kicked off because we're trying to get kicked off.
Yeah, no, exactly. So
Yeah.
as long as we're trying to get kicked
That's the way it
off,
works.
that's the way it works. So we can be capitalists all we want. Maybe we can do be on purpose capitalists and be poor. It's all those accidental capitalists that are rich.
So if we were to say something like Bitcoin is a tool used by the BLM movement to promote transgender studies in the hierarchy of the college level education, to take down the white privilege and make the Wonder Bread people of the country, and you know who I'm talking about, the Wonder Bread people, to bring them down a notch. Now, see, I'm actually a foreigner, so I'm an Irish American with a lot of French Canadian roots, so that doesn't apply to me. I'm talking about, the crackers here in the country. So those people, though, you know who you are, you people out there, this is, if you say these kind of things, is that going to get us kicked off of YouTube? Or do you just say that there's no such thing as men or women? It's a construct of society. And if you disagree with that, obviously you're a Trump supporter.
Sir, you didn't.
No,
sir,
I don't think that'll
yeah,
work.
yeah.
I don't think that'll work. I think what you got to say is there are only 2 genders. Trans is a mental health disorder. Pedophiles should be shot, and any race can be racist. If you say stuff like that, that'll really get you
Well,
kicked off.
I thought there was
shooting pedophiles is too easy. The wood chipper is the way that I would go for pedophiles. So,
the wood chipper that needs a set of points, so it kind of it'll stall once in a while, and you never know really when.
Whoopi, what I did find in your statement that you just did, you didn't use one pronoun, and I am triggered over that. I really have a problem with you not using pronouns or using our pronouns that we asked you so very nicely to use, because I'm aghast. I'm triggered.
I feel that I hear you. I hear what you're saying. And I'm here to try to really explain what the society is coming to. And I think it's hard because I have a Venn diagram in front of me and I'm working on, but I can't show it to you because we're on Twitter, so there's no pictures. So, and the reason why there's no pictures is because of the patriarchy.
It's all
You're just being a bigot.
It's truth. I'm speaking truth. I know it's hard for you all to listen to that. Patriarchy,
well.
cis. This is what these cisgendered people we're talking to here. I can't stand it. Wait a minute. Did I just culturally appropriate an artist? Oh my goodness.
What the hell is a cis?
Oh, it's
Is
a
that
thing
something
they
you
grow
get on your back?
It's
Is that something you get on your
yeah,
back or something like that?
yeah. They grow on your neck
Yeah,
sometimes.
sometimes.
And if you squeeze it, and this white shit comes out, and it makes children.
That's exactly how it happens, especially if it's on the back.
Just so you guys know, I had both cups of coffee already this morning, so I'm kind of on fire. So, talk amongst yourselves. I'm just listening to the voices in my head.
Well, overnight, or not overnight, but just about the time that I started dinner last night, seems like SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States, is going to take up the argument that Trump has immunity from prosecution over the January 6th insurrection, or excuse me, the January 6th iPhone insurrection. So that we have that a little bit to talk about. It just proves that Teflon Don is just really, as soon as stuff starts getting close to a court date or a ruling or anything like that, all of a sudden things get tied up again in court, and this has the possibility of at least moving things out to the end of June. Which is very close to the election, and maybe out there indefinitely. We'll see what the court has to say. He did appoint a couple of judges there that aren't particularly going his direction. So we'll see. That's going to be interesting to see what happens there.
You want my prediction? Here's my prediction. They're gonna find it that he can be tried for it, and it's his fault, and everything's his fault. They're gonna convict him, and because we're in such a weird setup, the day that he has to show up for prison and go to prison, Joe Biden will be the one that'll show up there and be like, "Is this where I'm supposed to be? Where do I go in?" They're just gonna trade.
Probably.
They're gonna trade. I think they're gonna be roommates.
All right, I'm back.
You've been back. Did we lose the recording at the same time?
No, my recording is on my computer and I'm on my phone, and my wife called me, so I had to drop.
Oh,
How
fantastic!
dare you?
So
Good.
How dare you?
answer.
It's a fucking global warming thing, dude. I
So
can't believe it.
so yeah,
Brett, go ahead.
This whole thing with the the January 6th insurrection, that was a silly day. The idea that it's an insurrection is laughable, but I don't see where he's responsible for any of that. I mean, all of the things that he said right before when it was going on was like, hey, everyone chill down, take it easy. And
Well, apparently, Illinois agrees with Jack Smith, who's the prosecutor, the special
right.
counsel
Well, Chicago does.
of the yeah, and they dropped Trump from the ballot. So that's another new thing that happened. So he's not Teflon to getting dropped off the ballot, but it seems that every time he gets dropped off the ballot, he gets put back on, and
Well,
I think he's good.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I think that
I'm not a goat head. I'm sorry. I am not a goat
Sorry, I
head.
tried to hit mute before I did that.
Mr. Gotheed. I think what's going to happen is if they keep doing this and taking them off the ballot, you're going to have the biggest write-in victory of a candidate that's ever been in this history. They're starting to piss off their own now with this bullshit, because people who are oppressed, that typically the left has been able to look at the poor oppressed people and say, we can help you, we know how to help you, you great unwashed masses. even those people are starting to see, they're like, wait a minute, this guy's getting persecuted over here. We're going to go for the underdog. So they're making Trump the underdog, and he's just going to take that and run with it because he understands how to use that. So keep
how
going
long do
after
you
him.
how long do you think it's going to be before we start getting the actual popular memes that have Trump on the cross, nailed on the cross?
I don't know. I think probably later today when I make them.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, as soon as they're able to be put on a shirt on Horrible Designs.
I swear, this is. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, honestly, with that whole insurrection thing, to me, the people that went there should have known that that they are going to try anything and everything to trick them into anything. So even if it was that the Capitol Police or whatever, guards, whatever, just open the doors and let them in, they all should have known that something like this would possibly happen, and they should not have gone in.
They shouldn't have. To tell you the truth, I'm a big proponent of going ahead and You want to protest? Go out there and protest. You want to rail against the United States government? That's fine with me. I don't care. I don't participate just because of that reason right there. Is that anything could happen? Was it a psyop? No, I don't think it started as a psyop, but it definitely ended as a psyop.
Oh hell yeah!
I mean, it was a great big mousetrap,
Yeah,
and I think that probably which is a good indication of how many low information voters are out there, because I believe that you snagged about, I would say, 95 of the people that were out there were just very much low information voters, and they get triggered by it, just as much as the left and the progressives get triggered by stuff. You get these right wing freaking wackos that go out and do this stuff. Are low information voters. They're passionate about one thing and one thing only, and they think they're passionate about the whole United States is that way, and it's not. Not even 50% of the United States is railing over this. Now, we can be on our website, we can be on our soapboxes like we are now, and during our podcast, and we can rail and say we want things to go back to the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, whenever your good times was, but the reality is that not everybody's that way, and I think when you see what happened at January 6th, that a lot of stupid people got together and got sucked into a situation where the government and CIA and whoever was behind the PSYOP, FBI, went like, yeah, we got a perfect mousetrap. Open it up.
Do you ever get tired of being right?
It's part of being old. It's trying to be. It's part of being old man winter.
No,
yeah,
you're spot on. You're spot on with that. I knew a lot of people from my political activism days that were there that day on January 6th, and a lot of them were just the run of the mill Republican voters. They've got their, either they're big on Second Amendment, or they're a Roe versus Wade. Let's turn that over. All of the stereotypical things. But there were a group of radicals there that were placed in the crowd, because they do this at all the crowds. They used to run Tea Party movements, Tea Party meetings, and the Democrats would send people into our meeting, and they'd sit in the back and take notes and do stuff. And I could always tell who they were, and I go talk to them. And as soon as you say hello and, hey, why don't you come up and speak, they'll leave. So what you're
yep,
saying is right. They're agitators, and it doesn't need to be. You only need about, in a crowd of 10,000 people, you need about 5 people to whip the rest of the crowd into doing something stupid. If they're already kind of set, we talked about cults the other day. If your mindset's already to doing something, we're here to do something. You get 5 people in there that'll start doing the thing. The rest of them will follow.
exactly. And Ken, with that whole thing, I saw Chris Ann Hall a few times live with some of her talks and whatnot, and you always saw those people there taking notes, like you said,
Yep.
and Chris Ann would say something to them, and they would get up and leave.
Yep. Yep. So hey, plug for Chris Ann Hall at Chris Ann Hall with a K, with a Chris Ann with a K, and it's one word,
Yes.
Chris Ann. And this is a woman that lost her job as a prosecuting attorney in Florida because she taught
Yes.
the Constitution on the weekends to people.
Yep.
And
How dare she? That sounds like a bigot.
yeah, well, of course, but she goes after anyone. So it's Chris Ann Hall, and it's what's her Liberty classroom or something she's got, and it's anyway.
Liberty First University.
Liberty First University. There it is, right there. So yeah, check that out. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican.
Yeah, and she also does not endorse candidates, and she's not a Republican or a Democrat.
Right.
She's against both parties, all parties actually. She doesn't even like the Libertarian Party.
Nope. But
Yeah, I don't
nobody
even like
likes
the Libertarian Party.
Nobody likes
No,
the Libertarian Party.
Yeah.
nobody in the Libertarian Party likes the Libertarian Party.
Because nobody
Yeah,
is the
Dave
right
Smith doesn't
Libertarian.
even like it.
The Libertarian Party is so mixed up. It's a crazy situation because I was in the party for a while, and you know, when they got Dave Smith in there, he really kind of threw a wrench in everything because he was part of the Mises Institute or the
Yes.
Mises following, yeah. And when they got in there, I mean, there was already infighting in there because look at the freaking characters that they brought up for the president of the United States. It's crazy.
Yeah.
They only brought
And-
the best. They only brought the best people forward.
Oh yeah, they're best people, man.
That
Jesus,
best debate a few years ago was between Austin Peterson and what do you call it? The crazy guy with the internet thing. What's his name?
Yeah, I don't know the space guy or whatever.
Yeah,
his
the
fucking name
space guy,
was.
and then the lunatic that was the governor of, I can't remember their names, but I just remember Austin Peterson. It was just like God
Gary
damn.
Johnson.
Gary Johnson.
Yeah,
And
Bill Weld and
it
Yeah.
wasn't Weld though. It was Gary Johnson. It was a three-way debate. It was Gary Johnson, Austin Peterson, and what was the guy? He's dead now.
Yeah, I can't remember the name. Yeah, I can't remember
John
the guy's
McAfee.
name.
Yeah, McAfee. That's right. So it's the debate between. So you had this guy that was completely burnt out, drunk, stoned, and then you had an unintelligible moron, and then you had this Austin Peterson guy who was just kind of grandstanding and stuff. I liked him, but it was like, man, this. It's like a Saturday Night Live skit back when they were funny.
Only the best.
Exactly.
Only the best. Only
You
the
guys-
best.
I just pulled into work, so I've got to get going. I know I always have to leave early, but I got capitalism to do. So we will talk to you guys later.
Whoopi, you're a slacker.
All right, yeah. If you guys could just carry me for one more day, that'd be great.
We'll see.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
We're going to keep on because I'm in the middle of traffic. It's going to take me a while to get to work today, so we got a little bit of extended time today. We can go on as long as we want to. So anyhow, yeah, it was just interesting, and as our political expert has exited the stage, now we're on our own because I'm not a political expert at all. So we're going to dumb this down a little bit and go with what we know best, and that's kind of being like Mo, Larry, and Curly, right?
Yes.
A little bit.
How's everybody doing out there? That was a spirited conversation.
Yeah.
Anybody got anything they want to talk about? Anybody got something that's like stuck in their craw and shit like that? I see the Harkos over there is making some awesome food. He's been posting food on the
That was
post there.
Yeah,
So.
that was yesterday. Well, I since I'm self-employed now, I can be a righteous piece of shit, and since the owner of the restaurant I used to work at is out of country, he asked me if I could like do supply runs here and there for him and shit like that, right? And so yeah, yesterday they're like, "Hey, we're gonna need some supplies," and I'm like, "Okay, well I can go do it tomorrow, aka today." And I'm like, well, yeah, if he's gonna want me to go to Chicago, I need to leave at like 9 o'clock in the morning. And so so his cousin works at the restaurant, and he let his cousin drive his truck while he's gone. Well, yesterday I told his cousin, I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna need to pick up the truck at like 9 a.m. tomorrow in order to go to Chicago and back and be back in time for me to do other shit that I gotta take care of tomorrow. And so you're gonna have to leave the truck at the restaurant, and you're gonna have to ride a bus home. And yeah, it's 9:30 and I'm still at my house. So he's going to get to work at 10 o'clock and be like, this motherfucker didn't even take the truck yet. I could have taken the truck and he still could have taken it. And yeah, so there's that.
I love it.
So,
I love it. So I was waiting for your post on food last night after you said, "Oh shit," because that's what you did right after the first time you said, "Oh shit," and you posted a picture of your food. And you said it last night, and you didn't follow up. So I mean, I was a little worried that either you had burnt the food or something. You know. I
no,
don't burn food. I'm old man winter. I don't burn food anymore. So
yeah,
young guys out there.
it's hard to burn really, really soft like pudding and stuff like that. I understand. You know, with not having very many teeth and stuff, you got to do what you got to
Good one. Touche.
Nice.
But no, like with this whole Teflon Don shit, man, I can't help but think, you know, that it's all for a setup of some kind. And I'm not 100. I got a couple different theories as to what the setup will be, but like Jason just said about January 6th, they should have known that something was going to be afoot. And like with this whole shit, everybody is like still in the same thing. Oh, we're gonna win. They're gonna lock them up. You know, everybody's gonna, you know, they're doing the whole thing again that they did last time, where they think, oh, we're winning and we got the globalists on their heels and everything like that. And I'm just like, are you fucking, are you that dumb that you can't remember like what just happened, you know, and how there, you know, it was completely a setup. So this has to be a setup too. Like,
Yep.
you know, January 6th was an allowed thing to happen. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, the whole thing with the prosecution, it has to be in order to set a precedent of some kind. Because after January 6th, guess what? No matter what your protest is, you could be the most leftist left fucking trans lesbian activist group or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? And you cannot protest or have any gatherings within like blocks of the White House now, or Congress or any of that shit. So you cannot go to where our government is and redress your grievances, which is the First Amendment. You cannot do that
Yep.
anymore. So they
Good
allowed
point,
January
Chris.
6th to happen in order to allow a precedent of, hey, no, fuck you. We run this shit, not you. And so, yeah, they're just going to keep doing that more and more and more. After 9/11, some would say they allowed it to happen. They knew it was going to happen. The intelligence was allowing it to happen, right? Maybe not the bombs in the building part, right? But people clearly had intelligence about shit, and shit happened. And then they capitalized off of that shit happening for decades. They're still, I mean, they still have the fucking uh, use of military authorization force or whatever it's called, the AUMF, and then they still have, you know, the extensions of the Patriot Act and everything like that are still in place today. Indefinite detention, all that kind of shit is still in place today because of the one event that happened one day in 2001 that they capitalized the fuck out of. And now, like, you know, the whole AUMF, like, as long as it's deemed as a terrorist activity, the executive can just launch an aggressive campaign, aka a war, in another country without Congress even appropriating funds, let alone authorization, because they have the blank check and the authorization already there. And so then they just tack it onto the bill. Oh, well, we got to support the troops, you know, and then they fucking just add more money onto the deficit and shit like that. So, like, you know, this whole thing about, oh, Trump's in court or Trump's this and everything like that. No, they're doing it to set precedent after precedent after precedent for everything. And they're using him as the excuse because what leftists who traditionally are the highest educated and the most, you know, supposedly logical, but I think they've gone illogical now, but they're the highest educated on paper. They're supposed to be like some of the most like, hey, let's keep the standards and everything like that, you know, all that shit and live up to the law and treat everybody equal and blah blah blah. Well, guess what? They're using everything in order to make Trump the bad guy, and then in order to take everybody else's rights. Just like how Kevin O'Leary was going off about the precedent that was set with a lawsuit in New York for a business deal that happened in Florida. That the bank said that they loved the deal and they made money and they would do business with him again. So there were no victims whatsoever. But however, in New York, they hit him with a lawsuit and set a precedent that it could be done now. And in order to just say, hey, if you want to do business, we are the mafia, we run shit.
Yep.
And and the government never gets charged with RICO,
Nope.
Yeah, no, nope.
And speaking of precedent, the U.S. justice system is in love with precedent. They don't give a fuck about the law. They
Yep.
love precedent.
Yep. Once a precedent is set one time, then you can go and just run with it because they're like, hey, in the well, here we go. In the court ruling of Roe versus Wade, they set this precedent. So now everything can be done in result of that one thing that was taken care of. You know what I'm saying? And so so now once that got overturned, everybody's like, oh, everybody's gonna be murdered now and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just that, yeah, precedent runs, not actually law.
Yep.
It just seems to me that it's a very styled game right now that has been perfected by the government to use the Constitution to their advantage, to be able to suck people into a psyop, and then be able to take the Constitution and use it against them.
Absolutely.
So come and protest on January 6th because you didn't like the outcome of the election. We're going to let you do it. We're going to let you have all the freedom that you want, but we're going to trap the clamps on you as soon as you get out of hand. And that's what happened. And they don't have to do anything. And they don't have to do anything. They're like a lying cop that plants drugs on you when he stops you for a bad taillight or something like that.
Yeah. Well, and this is the thing too, is that agent provocateurs have been going on for a long ass time. But now all of a sudden, some of the same people that were like, oh, in 1990, the World Trade protest, there were agent provocateurs in there. Oh, in Occupy Wall Street, there were a lot of agent provocateurs in there. Oh, during the BLM protest, there were a lot of agent provocateurs in there that started doing all the damages, right? In all three of those situations, agent provocateurs, which were cops and undercover assets and shit like that, were going in there and intentionally causing property damage and violence in order to set the precedent that this is no longer a peaceful protest. It's now a riot, which martial law can now be instated and your rights can be stripped. You can no longer protest. It's not a protest anymore. The same people that will sit there and say all three of those situations were set up in order to set that precedent and come in there and shut the protest down are the same ones that say, no. January 6th was an unarmed resurrection and attempted overthrow of the world's most powerful military government in the world. That makes perfect sense.
You make a good point, because now I'm thinking about the Supreme Court that is going to hear this argument for Trump, and those three justices that he appointed onto the court. You got to think that somewhere in the background they are agent provocateurs too, because of the fact that
quite possible, because I mean, like he got handed a short list, and then he got to pick from the short list. It's not like he came up with that list. You know what I'm saying? He didn't get Judge Napolitano on the Supreme Court. You know what I'm saying? He got fucking Kavanaugh, who supposedly laid on top of some chick when he was 16 or some shit, but never fucked her. And he's the worst man in the world. It's like, what? No, how? What the fuck are you talking about?
But now he's going against what they thought that he was going to be standing for. Because now he's the Chief Justice. That's kind of weird, right? Where he became the Chief Justice right after before he became a Justice of the Supreme Court. It was very quick that he was the Chief Justice. It's kind of weird.
It's definitely organized. And, it kind of goes back to the whole thing where a lot of people see Clarence Thomas as a mole or a fake person and stuff like that. There's a lot of people, people of color that will say that Clarence Thomas, he is not a real black man. He's a sellout, a house Negro who has sold out his, the black people in order to have a position of power, and they gave him a white wife, and now he's toting the white supremacist lie, right? Like I've heard that a lot, right? And but guess what? Whenever he was put in, everybody was like, "Yay!" Right? And then all of a sudden they're like, "Wait, he's doing the establishment's bidding, so he's a shill." And that's the same thing that happens every time, Sotomayor. Eventually they're gonna be like, "Oh, you're a fake Mexican" or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Or like, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. "Oh, you're not for women's rights." You know what I'm saying? Like they put these people up there, to say, "Oh, this is the person. They're going to bring change for us now." But it's all a
here's
ruse.
our virtue signal. Here's our
it's a
virtue
ruse.
signal. Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't think there's any way past what's going on, and I give a damn what happens in the trial, for the immunity against for presidents and stuff like that. But it will set, one thing Trump is right about it is that it will set precedents for future presidents and executives in power.
Well, I mean, if Bush and Cheney can go behind closed doors, not under oath, and not recorded or anything like that, and testify before Congress about the incidents on 9/11/2001, and have complete executive immunity from the downfall of that day, plus all the aftermath that happened until they got out of power in 2008, with all the wars, all the deaths, all the killing, all the destabilization, everything like that. If they can have executive immunity from that, I think Trump can have executive immunity from having a speech on January 6th outside of the White House and people getting a little antsy.
Yeah, so you think he's going to fly this one, huh? You think he's going to slide off?
Yeah, I think they're gonna keep charging him with things, and then he's gonna get off, and it's gonna look corrupt, and then that's gonna piss off the left even more.
And the problem is that the more they go after him is going back to precedent. It's going to be allowed on the other
this is
side.
What you do now. Yep,
yes,
this is what you do now.
They have to watch out for, as much as they go again, for the power that they give to government to go after and do their bidding. You have to always realize it can always be used against you.
Right.
Yeah, just like all the power that they gave Trump under the emergency of COVID, the right was like, yeah, Trump, go ahead and do all this. And then all of a sudden, next thing they know, they're like, oh, well, Biden's locking us down, making it mandatory. We take the vaccine. It's like, yeah, that was Trump's vaccine that he was still bragging about like a year and a half after he got out of office. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, yeah, you know what? You think Trump wouldn't have fucking made that mandatory as well, too? He would have made it mandatory, but he would have told you, oh, it's to make America great again.
Yeah. That's the weird thing about it too, is that people forget about exactly the way things actually happened, and Trump was Trump was no freaking free everybody fucking conservative, dude. At all, dude. I mean, first of all, he was a Democrat for that turned into whatever and ran Republican. He's the one that said he appointed. He brought Fauci in. He's the one that put Fauci front and center in front of everything here. Him and that other girl, whatever woman that was there. He brought in the mandates. He did the lockdowns. He did all of that. And
he started the inflation. I mean, it wasn't solely him.
Oh, absolutely.
It wasn't solely him. It was Congress that really did it, but he signed off on it.
Well, and the thing that always got me too is that he signed in 3 different executive orders that gave power to all these different bureaucratic agencies, gave power to the states to have martial law and stuff like that, right? So under the COVID emergency, there were 3 different executive orders. And then that was in 2020. And then all the way until he was out of power officially, he was kept saying, oh, we need to end the lockdowns. Oh, we need to stop this. Oh, everything like that. And I'm just sitting there screaming into the void saying, you dumb son of a bitch, their executive orders, unsigned 3 of those, and this will be over immediately. You fucking piece of shit. And he never fucking did it.
No, he never did. And I don't know what kind of, I'm not going to say that there was any pressures on him, because I don't believe that there's any pressure on him. I think all this stuff is calculated. All this stuff is handed down from president to president. It's like, this is our agenda. This is what we're going forward. We're going to let you be president, but you're going to do these things because we let you be president. So get on the stick, do it. We will make it look like you're still a conservative or a Democrat or a this or a that. but you're going to be our puppet, and we're going to pull the strings. You're a marionette, and God, it's just it's, as much as we want to be awake about this and know that it's happening, there's nothing that we can do to stop it because they're gonna put Trump in office again.
Yeah, I think they want to, and because he is what I call uncontrolled controlled opposition, which means that like he doesn't think that he is controlled opposition. He's not willingly controlled opposition. However, they have learned it's very easy to manipulate that guy. All you do is, metaphorically suck his dick, and he's fucking, oh yeah, I am the greatest. Yeah, I need to do this because I am the great. Like this very simple. It's very simple to control him. You know what I'm saying? And it's very simple to control his base as well too. If you want them to do something, if you want the base of Trump's base to do one thing, then what you do is you attack him from the opposite, and then they will do something in reaction, and then that actually leads down the way that you wanted them to go. It's simple shit, and nobody can see it. That's why I always say, and jokingly, but sometimes I think it's real, is that I am the smartest person on the planet, and everybody else is fucking retarded. Because I don't know how I can sit here and see this shit, and then there's tons of people who are more intelligent than me for reals, and they don't see it. But then they'll see other things. They'll see other things, but then they won't connect the dots because they're like, no, that is this is that. You know what I'm saying? They separate the two. And I'm like, no, it's the same tactic. It's called divide and conquer. It's called, it's called a controlled opposition. It's called confuse and obfuscate. You know what I'm saying? It's not that difficult. It's very simple.
Yeah, like it is. It's amazing. I got like all those people like that, just like you said, they failed the dot test. And
yeah, exactly. And I aced the dot test, just like in driver's ed, I got a fucking D in the class and an A in the car. Why? Because theory and practice are different with me. I can't fuck around with theory. I can practice my ass off. You know what I'm saying? When I took my driver's test, I fucking failed it 3 times before I passed it, but I got in the car and fucking aced it in 5 minutes. I was done. She's like, okay, you're good. In 5 minutes on the driver's test, right? At 16 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always like that. I fucking got like a 2.0 GPA graduating fucking high school. And then I fucking failed math twice when I was trying to go to college. Ended up dropping out of college after not even a year yet and everything like that. But yet I can sit here and run circles in history and math and like all kinds of other shit around other people because I know actual real shit and they just know theory.
I think it is what it comes down to is that I don't feel like I need to be dumb and corrupt. I'm not going to play the dumb and corrupt to be rich. I'd rather be smart and, and right than just be poor. I don't know. There's kind of a situation there that kind of rings true in that statement that if you're dumb and corrupt, man, you can they'll fucking set you up. They'll give you everything you need. Just follow the carrot. For wherever we want you to go.
Yeah, there's that, but then there's also the situation is like, it goes to the whole trope. It's like the hardworking, honest person always gets fucked over, but the person who's willing to lie, cheat, and steal to get ahead, they will get further. It's basically what you just said. But a lot of people who are down here, I'm working 60 hours a week. I pay my taxes. I don't break any laws. I do what I'm supposed to do, and I just keep getting fucked over. But then you got all these criminals out here, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. And all these criminals get, free housing and fucking free medical and all that shit. And I'm over here paying $200 every paycheck just for my medical, just for me, let alone for my family.
Right.
Like the system is set up for that.
Well, that's just like that black lady that we were talking about that was on the video, on the TikTok video, going off on the city council. Because God, that's perfect example of what you're talking about. Hardworking fucking people that are doing everything right, and she was definitely a Democrat, but I mean she was doing everything right. Sounds like she was a working woman who was probably on assistance and stuff like that. And then she sees people coming in, shutting down their schools, getting everything that they need to survive, while her stuff's getting cut.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's understandable, and I can stand with those people. I can stand with those people and say, yeah, this is wrong and stuff like that. But it just goes back to that analogy. It's just like they want you to follow the carrot, and the more corrupt
Yeah.
and pliable that you are, the better we're going to take care of you. And the more like me and you and everybody else who's just fucking grinding at the grindstone, trying to lift some stuff off the ground just to be able to, try to maybe, glean $1 or two out of this fucking economy every once in a while. We're the ones that are the fuck, and it's just,
Yeah, and that's the whole thing, and that's how divide and conquer works in order to get us fighting amongst each other every time we start coming together. You know what I'm saying? Like people are coming together more and more under the anti-establishment banner, no matter what their demographics are. And so that's why I'm like waiting for something to drop to divide the fuck out of us again. You know what I'm saying? That's
yeah.
why I think they're going to let Trump in order to divide us, but then they're also going to do something else. They're going to have some kind of like a racial attack in America or something like that we can start arguing about or something. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think
Because
you know what I think
yeah,
it'll be. I think it'll be the revival. I think it'll be the religious revival that will take this movement that's happening and then divide in between that because within the conservative movement, within this Trump movement, within this whatever we're getting anti-woke movement is a fact that there's a bunch of frankly there's a bunch of non-believers in there, and
uh-huh.
and then there's a lot of fundamentalists in there, and then there's a lot of us that are just kind of like we're in the middle. We're just kind of like, yeah, I'm a believer, but it's just I'm going to go on with life and live my life the way that I'm going to be right. I'm going to be right. I'm going to be that good guy. And there's
Yeah,
going to be and what's going to happen is we're going to have a great big huge revival, and all the fundamentalists are going to split off from mainstream conservative movement, and that moderation or that centrist attitude that everybody gets when they start getting into this that way is going to that's what I think that's what's going to be the division. And I heard that the other day. I've been seeing that happen with a lot of the influencers, personalities that are on the libertarian side, or just on the right side of libertarianism, where they're starting to get into Orthodox Christianity. They're starting to return to the Catholic Church, and a bunch of other things that were kind of shoved away on the wayside of the religious kind of movement. That kind of went away for a while, and it's starting to come back. And I can see that maybe the revival might be the thing that's going to be the dividing point.
possible. I mean, I could just see there being a situation where some of these people who have migrated here from other countries either start an attack or are they victims of an attack, and that involves white people. And then that's going to cause a division over migrants versus citizens. But then you're also going to have the situation of racism and all that shit divided in there, because race, it divides people way more than religion does. Especially
Oh
nowadays, people
yeah.
are a lot more
Oh,
tolerant of other people's religions now, but people aren't tolerant of other people's, born genetics and shit like that. And
sounds
so
like
it's just
sounds like District 9. Sounds like District 9. You ever saw that movie? You
the
ever see?
alien one.
Yeah, yeah. District 9. Yeah, it's a perfect.
I think I might have watched it once. I can't remember. I know I've seen the previews for it.
Yeah, yeah. It goes along that lines where they okay. To make a long story short, uh, the big spaceship crashed, and all these aliens came, and then they were just separated up, and the thing that came down was all the violence and and the alien racism and stuff that came down, and how they were alienated, put in camps and this and that, But it runs perfect to what you just explained. So, yeah, I believe that that's probably a good idea or a good analogy too. That either we're going to, I mean, because people are talking about, well, when is the attack coming? When is the attack coming from all these sleepers that are coming in across the border? Either we're going to
Yeah.
get attacked, or like you said, you know, you're going to get a bunch of fucking yahoos that have militias and stuff that are going to come out and they're going to do something like, say, up in Minnesota or Michigan or wherever those strongholds are.
Yeah, it's not going to be something like that is not going to happen in a major city. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to have the yahoos in a major city that go crazy on like a portion of the city that's been taken over by migrants from other areas that are doing all kinds of crime. You're not going to have that. You're not going to you're going to have something in a small to medium sized town where there are, a very few amount of migrants who are running like a drug operation or maybe doing some like robbing or something like that, right? Some strong arm shit. And then the yahoos are going to hop up and everything like that. And then it's going to be a situation. Because like, if you look in New York, what all is going on where these Venezuelan gangs are running rampant all over the place and beating the shit out of cops, walking free and everything like that, nobody's standing up. It's not going to be a situation. It's going to be in the small to medium sized towns where something pops off. And then of course they're going to be like, oh, well, that's because of racism, that's because of these gun rights, blah blah blah. And it's going to be a multifaceted thing.
It'll be a Waco is what it'll be. It'll be something similar to a Waco. All right. Well, hey, I'm pulling into work now, and hey, just want to thank you guys for being here. What a spirited conversation today, man. Went from Teflon Donnie to this, but really enjoying this. Want to thank everybody who joined in today. If you're listening to this recording, we want to thank you for listening in. We're going to do this every day, every commute day, 6 to 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which is like later, where these other guys live. So, but nonetheless, we love you being here.
We're on the real time. You guys are lazy fucks.
You guys, 8 to 9 Central.
Half already done. Your day's half done.
Yeah, exactly. I know you guys just got up. You lazy fucking Californians out there smoking all your marijuana and fucking sleeping in 3 hours later than everybody else.
Marijuana.
Yeah, exactly.
Sound like Richard Pryor now. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for listening in. The audio is going to be dropping here pretty soon, so stay tuned, and we'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day.
You too.